Hello, and I think I'm live. And yeah, we haven't seen each other in a while, and I'm sorry about that. And I know, or at least I can imagine, I can envision your mindscape within mine, how you were probably wondering how I got into this situation. And I can tell you, because I assume you turned on this interactive writing stream in order to listen to an old guy talk about his technical problems with his computer. So it's like this. My computer has some audio problems, which is why I had to cancel the last live stream. Goddamn cancel culture. And Dell, you know how it is, asked me to do a few things which were a lot of work, and I did them, and none of them helped. And then they told me they would send someone to repair it, but that I would have to wait for the spare parts, and the spare parts didn't arrive. And now they have told me that the spare parts won't be arriving, and that they'll refund the computer, and that I can buy a new one, which is nice. So thanks for that, I guess. And now, but listening to my explanation, you are probably looking a bit like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, where he's pointing at the screen, you know, like this, and shouting at me that I am a liar, because obviously you can hear me, at least I hope you can. Tell me if you can't. You wouldn't know I asked, but I think you'd probably get the gist. If you couldn't hear me, you would probably feel the need to let me know, I hope. And yeah, there's a workaround. There are several workarounds, in fact. And yes, I could have used those last time, but it was pretty short term, and I didn't want to try a bunch of things and then give up after a quarter hour of you watching me trying technical solutions. So instead, I decided to have you tune in to listen to me talk about my technical problems for a quarter of an hour. No, it was only 2 minutes. Weird. It felt longer, didn't it? No, so that's the reason. But I'm back now. I think I have audio since nobody has yet told me that I don't. So all should be fine for today. I even burned some incense to get back into that, and I spilled some tea. To burn some incense to get back into that magical mindset we need for our story, which unfortunately starts with a racist outburst by some pupil. We can think about changing that maybe later if you think it's a bad thing to start with, and I'm not sure yet. So let's leave. Let's just leave. Let's just ignore it, which is what we do with racism in Germany, you know? Let's just do that. And go to another problem, which is what we usually don't in Germany. So we're a bit above average here. And I'm going to be honest again, I have no memory of this place. I don't know what happened last time. It's too long ago. I'm too old for this. And I would be grateful if one of you could maybe take over. I'm gonna refresh my memory and maybe yours while I'm at it by reading the last few paragraphs which we have written. But first, since we are always in danger of having intruders in here, or dare I say it, new participants, maybe now, maybe later, these videos will stay up on YouTube, so maybe in 20 years from a burned and destroyed place that's all that's left of human civilization, someone will watch this video to cheer up and learn something about writing. Who knows? In that case, this is an interactive writing stream. This is the story we're writing, or it's more a bit down there, I guess. It's all there. And this is the author, or one of the authors, because we are all authors together in this live stream, and we are writing this story together. The place to interact mostly is Discord, and there's a link in the video description down below. We have switched off the YouTube chat for several reasons, one of which includes Nazi trolls, and you can interact in any way you like. If you don't like or don't want to use Discord, you can talk to me via text messenger, via Blue Sky or Threads or any old social media. You can use SMS or fax or email, whatever you like. Just let me know. You can send me an email, for example, to set something up. But that's usually, and so far, this hasn't excluded anyone as far as I'm aware of. We are using Discord because that's easy to moderate for a person who doesn't have a team of moderators, but only themselves. All right, so let's jump into the story, or maybe one thing to get a bit more into detail in case you're wondering, yeah, but what does that mean? How is this interactive? It's interactive in every way. You can tell me that the sound is bad. You can tell me that the lighting is bad, although I already know that, but you can tell me it's so bad that I should finally do something about it, which I might. I have already put a new video light into my shopping basket at Amazon. So you can let me know about that. You can tell me that my hair is bad, or you can tell me that you like my hair, whatever you prefer. You can also talk about the story, of course, or about my way of presenting it. You can do whatever you like. And about the story, you can ask questions. You can tell me what to write. We sometimes have more or less formal polls where I ask a question and you can choose one of several options, but you can always type something free text also if you don't like any of my options. So this is all very, very flexible and interactive. You can do whatever you like, basically, as long as you behave like an okay person. So no right-wing ideology, no racism, no anti-queer sentiment, nothing like that, you know? We're good people here. Or we try to be. I'm not, but we try. The rest of you are, I'm not, we try. So let's get started finally. All right, and the situation we are in is Gudmund, who lives in a senior care facility, is being put into a situation where he will be interviewed about what he wants to improve. I'm not going to recap the whole story, but that's basically it. And maybe I'll even try to get back. Yeah, his site. I consider you a very ethical person, Epiphany says. Oh, that's very nice, but at least I think we can all agree that there is no ethical life under capitalism, and then this is the system we're living in, and I'm not even really doing very much, I'm afraid. But I'm doing this live stream and the story, and I think that's a little very little thing that I'm trying to do. So it's a start. We're starting here. Talking about starting. He never then why was he seeing white? He never saw white when he closed. He did blink. Gudmund was absolutely sure that he was blinking right now. Then why was he still seeing nothing but blinding bright whiteness? Or was he? Because now it felt like more details were starting to come out of the whiteness. There was some darker white, maybe a gray, maybe like rocks or stone in snow. Yes, he was seeing snow. Now, that his eyes or his mind were getting used to the view, or was the view just slowly coming together? He couldn't tell. There was no doubt anymore that he was seeing an image of snow on rocky ground, looking at a huge gray boulder, also partially covered in snow in one direction, and bright blue sky above a sea of clouds. Was he above the clouds? He blinked again. And suddenly there was a chair, or maybe more accurately, a throne almost, a huge wooden chair with brocade upholstering and a backrest almost 2 meters tall standing besides a long modern conference table. And there were other chairs, some more or less modern, some older, some looking very strange indeed, such that he doubted they were even made for humans to sit in. Now, where had that thought come from? And also, there was just a rock in the place where in a conference room there would have, there we found a typo, there would have been another chair besides the table. Among all the other weird chairs, there was a rock, just the right size and roughly the right shape, that Gudmund would have been able to sit on it. All these things were not appearing before his eyes as such. There was an uncomfortable and puzzling sensation of them always having been there, but his eyes just realizing this one after the other, or maybe it was himself arriving more and more completely in this place during a distressingly long time. And there was a beamer. There was a beamer on the table, one of those old big ones they used to have in the university when he was still teaching. So that's our setup. Now we are getting into the actual interview, I guess, which will be interesting. Because, and let me be honest here, and this is no criticism, this is always the case while I'm writing my stories, I'm not sure we're on the right path here. I'm not sure, because maybe this is not interesting enough. But then again, who says we're writing that story for mainstream marketability? Maybe we're writing the story for ourselves. Maybe the real bestseller was the friends we made along the way. And the cups of tea, of course, because tea is the answer. So let's see. Maybe I'll do a bit more description, and then the other people will arrive. We will have to think a bit about what to do about the descriptions, and also, oh yeah, that's something. I'm gonna have to scroll back a bit because now I have been wondering if the manager of the care facility will be there too. Probably she should. Let me see. Sam laughed again. Here we are. Yeah, we haven't made it clear yet. So let's do the first poll of today, because that's always fun. I want to make a Helldivers joke about democracy, but nothing comes to mind, so please make your own jokes. Let me see. Poll. And it's Ruth Gabler, I think. Will Ruth Gabler be there for the interview? And I'm not going to give you answering options typed out, because this is a yes or no question. So I'm just going to give you a thumbs up reaction, a thumbs down reaction, and a shrug reaction. And of course, as always, I'm implicitly giving you the opportunity to type just text, whatever you like. So you can give any answer you want, but as pre-constructed emoji, you're only getting thumbs up, thumbs down, and shrug as soon as I'm able to find them. Sorry, this is taking longer than I expected, but I'm almost there. Here's the thumbs up, there's the thumbs down, and here's, sorry about that, here's the shrug. I'm hoping it will be there very, very soon. Here's the shrug. So there we go. Now you can, while you do the poll, I'll let you in on another little conundrum which I've been pondering, and that is, how do we do the descriptions now? This is not a big problem, this is a small problem, but you know how it is. Life is made up of a lot of small problems, and they stack up, don't they? How do we describe the other people from Gudmund's point of view? Because we want to describe them from Gudmund's point of view, because we're in Gudmund's perspective right now. So we need to well, I guess if we haven't done it completely wrong, we have established his perspective. But we need to maintain it. We need to keep the reader, the readers, the reading people inside of Gudmund's head. And for that, I'm maybe belaboring a rather obvious point. We need to show readers the things that are happening from Gudmund's perspective, and from Gudmund's perspective, he knows Ruth Gabler, maybe, probably, not sure, because it's not a matter of course that living in a care facility, you know their head of administration. You don't necessarily have to, but he probably would. And then again, it is a big care facility in Berlin, so he might not. Secondly, he doesn't know Sam and Munira. So we need to describe them from his perspective. But we have already described them at the beginning, more or less. Munira, not so much. We haven't described Munira a lot, I think. Sam a bit more, because Sam was introduced from Munira's perspective in the beginning, in the first scene. And we don't want to bore our readers by just copy and pasting the description from the beginning. Although given that we are 12,000 words in now, it might be nice to refresh the memory of our readers, but we don't want to repeat it verbatim. So we want to make a new version, not least because, of course, the perspective influences the description by choosing what to highlight. You know, obviously, Munira seeing Sam will focus on other things than Gudmund seeing Sam. And all the more so since Munira saw Sam, they both see them in a rather unusual situation. Munira was kind of rescued, even though she didn't know it at that point, from a deportation by Sam, but it was still, Munira felt firmly anchored in reality when Sam first appeared to her. She still considered them unusual, but still. And for Gudmund, this is completely different. Not just because of his basic perspective, but also because he has just been transported into something that feels unnatural, supernatural, like a dream, a brain malfunction, or magic to him. So he is probably in a different mindset. So that is something that should influence our description or our reintroduction of those two characters. And I'm not saying that as in this is a highly unusual thing which we somehow need to find techniques to work with. We are the first people who ever think about that. This is everyday stuff for writing, of course, but it's still new every time for obvious reasons. And I want to explain why I'm hesitating and what I'm thinking about. And I hope this was helpful, if a bit long. I know I tend to belabor the stuff maybe a bit much, but then again, I think it's better to make sure that we're on the same page. So back to comments. Gekrimbel said, I tend to have her there in some part of it, or having to leave at some point, or coming back, so that perhaps Gudmund has the dilemma if he wants to be honest about things he doesn't like. Epiphany says, I don't know, hence shrug. Woodgobbler might intimidate Gudmund and others, but it would be handy for her to hear the truth. Pazut is still typing. And about the poll, we have 2 shrugs and 1 thumbs up. Pazut says, to say it very technically, one method I find interesting is to describe mostly the same things but in different priorities and value judgments. E.g., when one character described someone as hot because of their long hair and because they like incense, the second description can describe the long hair and the incense as negatives, damn hippies and all that. Parentheses, could you link the text here after the stream? I'd really like to read it to give less general examples. I think, and I'm gonna check now, I have good news for you, Pazut. The link is already there. It should be in the video description on YouTube. I'm gonna give it a quick check because here we go. Sound is back. I have no idea what happened there. But yeah, sound should be back now. Can you let me know? Is the sound back? Great. I have no idea what happened there. I didn't even do anything. It was just gone and then it was back. Maybe a little malfunction in my workaround. I'm sorry. I think you might have to get used to that for a few more weeks because the new computer won't be arriving. I have no idea. Dell has long delivery times sometimes for individual configurations, and I'm going to need one. So yeah, what I was about to say. First off, yes, Pazut, there is already a link, and the story behind that is not the actual very last version, so you won't find that last sentence here, for example, but you will find the beginning. And also, I will go back to that now. Yeah, Pazut says, okay, I missed some stuff because my PC crashed shortly after my reply. Oh, don't I know that? But I did catch that the text is in the video description. It is, yes, and it's not the very last, but yeah. And here we go, there is Sam's first appearance, and maybe we're going to copy this description, but it's distributed over several pages, so this is going to be a bit difficult. So I won't copy it, we'll just have to try and remember, and you can help me with that. And Pazut said also, yes, very mean to not just check the video description, lol. Don't even worry about it, really. I can completely understand that, first off, because it happens. Secondly, this thing is so all over the place, you could have looked everywhere. Instead, you just asked me, which is fine. This is an interactive writing stream. You did everything right. And here we go. Long, dark blue velvet coat with a wide-brimmed red hat with something tucked into the ribbon, leaning against the door, which is, of course, not what is happening right now. The thing in their hat looked like an old yellowed scroll from here. Then later on, we have striking red lips. Were they wearing lipstick? But they also had a beard, albeit a threadbare one. But now that they spread their arms, that's probably the automatic translation, which I checked but didn't check. Munira also clearly saw a bulge of breasts under the coat, which is a bit confusing for Munira because she's in the beginning not quite clued in, not as woke as we are, but who is, honestly. So you see from the, yeah, here you go, from the point of view of a gender traditionalist, Sam is a bit confusing at first glance, which is intentional. And the thing is, I want to make that clear, but I don't want to make a big deal about it because it should not be a big deal. Know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. And of course, I'm very open because you might have noticed, and just for the record, I'm agender, but you might have noticed I'm quite gender conforming in most ways. I present male. I have this, but that's it. So I won't pretend like I'm the resident expert on these things. Also, is it getting hot in here or is that me? I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind. I might have to take off this ugly sweater. But don't worry, I'm wearing something underneath, even if it's not very nice. Oh yeah, this is better. Don't know why. Is it really warm or is it me? I'm gonna check. 20 degrees. It's warmer than when I woke up, but big whoop. So here we go. Now, sorry, to get back to our story. Gudmund, we have established, is queer in the sense of that he's gay. And now we're back in a difficult situation because Gudmund is rather old. He's probably not extremely conservative, although he might be. I'm not sure if we've already established that. I don't think, it's definitely not in the story, but although I think the story would have established if he was extremely conservative. So he might be still conservative about a lot of things. You might realize most people are, unfortunately. I think we're gonna start. Let's start with Munira. And we haven't described Munira yet, so I'm going to ask you first off. And I'm gonna say it, and I'm also gonna type it into the chat. Anyone wants to give input on how to describe Munira? I'm open. And maybe to set the scene a bit, Munira is a kind of 13-year-old girl who went to school just today and hasn't changed clothes since then. She was a bit confused by Sam's appearance in the beginning and not quite firm about not assuming people's gender, so we can assume that she will probably look kind of gender conforming, more or less, although we don't have to. Munira was about to be deported, so there is a certain, it would be weird to have her have blue eyes, blonde hair, but it's possible, of course. I don't think I have described anything really about her, because I sometimes, sorry about that, I didn't mean to do that. I don't know what happened right now. I don't know. No, you can't even tell. I minimized. Oh, you can. I minimized a few windows. I'm sorry about that. I pushed the wrong button. Here we are, back. Because I usually, I can almost say, usually don't really describe my characters as long as I don't have to. And about Munira, I don't think we have done a lot. No, we haven't done a lot. So I think, oh, that's a good idea. Pazut says if he's extremely old and it's not strongly established yet, he could make comparisons to 50s music stars or something to establish the age more strongly, or a movie star, etc. That's good. I think we have only a slight idea about how old Gudmund is, but living in a nursing facility, care facility, he's old. We've established that. We haven't set an exact age, so we can do anything, I guess, from 70 to 90 would be kind of within normal expectations, my feelings. He can also be 50 or 60, of course. It's not just a matter of age, but he can also be 105 if we want. Oh, but we have set a bit of a corridor because he was teaching at a university when there were already those big beamers. So around, I think they started in the late 90s, maybe. I'm not sure about that. Maybe like that. But you can teach at a university in the age of 70 or 80, so the corridor is still rather wide. Epiphany says, I would start with black hair and brown eyes. Yeah, let's go with that. Clothing. Oh, dear God. Does anybody here have an idea how 13-year-old girls usually dress? And I know that's a weird question in itself. Maybe I shouldn't have asked it, but yeah, we need to come to some sort of decisions about that. And let's see, 50s music stars. That's good. That's a very good idea. I love that. Thing is, I have no idea. Maybe the first thing that comes to mind for some weird reason is Greta Garbo, and I have no idea from what time she actually is. Gekrimbe says, unfortunately not at all. Let's look at TikTok for a moment. That's an idea. But I'm gonna start, first off, I'm gonna start Googling Greta Garbo, who was born 1905 and died 1990. And most of her movies I see here are from the 30s, so maybe a bit old for him. So maybe let's Google 50s movie stars. Now the problem is, I don't know about you, but especially within Western countries, we won't have a lot of famous movie or pop stars who look like Munira, will we? Unfortunately. Not saying it's a good thing, but I'm afraid it's a true thing. Elizabeth Taylor had black hair, at least, I think. I'm not even sure about that. Whom do we have? Sophia Loren. Selma Ritter, never heard of her. But I'm bad. This is not saying anything about the people. I have no idea about this kind of cultural thing. But I think it would be weird to have him think that Munira looks like Elizabeth Taylor or something. Maybe with maybe with Sam it's easier. Maybe. For one thing, is it unpleasant if oh sorry, I always forget to disable the navigation thing in Word, and then you can't see the text. Here we go. Is it very unpleasant for me to go to a Rocky Horror Picture Show? I know that's not 50s by a long shot. I think that's 80s, or is it even 90s? Rocky Horror Picture Show, 1975. It's even better than I hoped. 1975. So that, since that is the go-to gender non-conforming thought most kind of mainstream people go to, in my experience. So I think it might not be too bad to have Gudmund think of Rocky Horror Picture Show when seeing Sam. Thoughts, feelings about that? I'm gonna try something. Let me try something. Famous last words. And we don't happen to have any people with black hair, brown eyes, and all that in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, do we? No, it's also whitest whites in it. The whitest of whites, actually, because most of them seem to be wearing that white makeup stuff even, so it doesn't get any more whiter than that. Now we can't do that. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Let me fall over for a minute. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Here we go. And then the people appear. Maybe we're gonna start with Sam to get into it. We haven't done anything about Sam's hair, have we? I don't think we have. Coat. I'm gonna look for hair, or maybe haircut or something. Chairs. Yeah, of course. I'm gonna get a lot of wheelchair, short green hair. But that's already someone else, I think. Yeah, that's the person behind the counter already. So we don't know anything about Sam's hair, but maybe it's hidden behind the. So let's make a poll. But then I'll start. Promise. Poll. Do you think the Rocky Horror Picture Show reference is a bad idea? This is gonna get weird because so we're gonna use this and this and this, and maybe I'll explain it a bit more so you know what I mean. I don't think that it's per se, I know that it's not a good thing that, or if Gudmund's mind goes there immediately upon seeing Sam. It's not. But it might be good to describe it as such, to establish, for example, that Gudmund is not right-wing or aggressively anti-queer, but still mainstream enough to not have a lot of Other thoughts about? Oh, and the thumbs up means yes. So you think if you use the thumbs up, you mean it's a bad idea, just to make it clear. And I think it might be. Maybe we're gonna forego it. While I'm explaining it, I'm starting to feel that there's no way of saving it. Maybe I want to not do it. Well, you can still vote. We can think about it. You can even write something if you like, but I'm gonna try without. I'm gonna try without. First, I like it. I think it can give him an arc, says Pazur. I'm gonna try a bit, but then again, has anybody actually seen the movie? Because I haven't. I haven't seen the movie. So all I know is from photos and little video snippets. So you have to help me. If you think Sam looks like one person in particular, or maybe it's not a thing where Gudmund goes like he looked like character XY from Rocky Horror Picture Show, but more like looked like a character from or reminded Gudmund of something like that maybe. Well, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. See, I already typed one word. There's our first word for today, and it's first. Isn't that funny? Oh no, it's not. And then the people appeared was the first sentence. Epiphany says, I have seen a short bit of the movie. We're gonna see. So I think what I think is Sam is gonna appear, and Sam is gonna appear sitting on the rock. First, there was a long, slender person in a flamboyant blue coat. Pazut says, yes, I've seen the movie, but I'm not a very visual person. My stories massively lack physical descriptions as well. I'm not sure. I always wonder. I think it's a fact that I'm not talking about your stories now, but talking in a way, of course, I am talking about both our stories or something about the phenomenon in itself. I'm always wondering if it's a bad thing necessarily. I think in my case, I need to do a bit more, but then I think there are advantages, and I'm never sure because to me, reading stories feels similar. I have no idea what people look like in the stories I'm reading. I almost never have an idea. And I'm not sure how much that is because they aren't described either, or because I wasn't paying attention. So I don't have a good reference. Maybe we can talk about that too someday. Gekrimbel says, oh, I'm really not good at this, but looked like a character from makes a lot of sense to me. So let's go ahead. Or maybe Pirates of the Caribbean, but that's even newer. And 1975 is at least giving sort of an indication. That's a problem. Because I like Pazut's idea about using old media as reference in general, but it leads us to the problem that in the 1950s they didn't do a lot of queer representation or non-white representation in their movies, as far as I'm aware, at least in the movies that are popular for someone like Gudmund. So that might be difficult. I guess there was already Indian and maybe Nigerian cinema in the 50s, but Gudmund probably wouldn't know, except maybe if he was a teacher, right? So he might have more knowledge about these things than I do. But then we'd have to do research, which is work. Let's think about that. Pazut says someday we'll do the story exchange thing, but until then, I'm bored by it as a reader as well, and neither you nor I write classical progression fantasy and need to describe to the shiny armor that mirrored her small face with blah, blah, blah. But that's a bad trope anyway. But yeah, you're right. We don't have to. We don't have to. So let's see. In a flamboyant blue, I'm gonna stick with the velvet because that's something that hits the eye, I think. And a huge red hat with some sort of old scroll stuck to it. Maybe like that. They seem to be wearing makeup, but also had a beard. Maybe like this. Since Gudmund, I think we've kind of established that he has a thing about literature and maybe movies. What's the word I'm looking for? Narrative art or something. He might be a lot more knowledgeable than the average person, and especially more knowledgeable than me, which is not a high bar to meet, but still. Maybe let's try it like this. So apparently they were trying to maybe like this. The thing is, I'm going to type the sentence and then I'm going to talk about it. So apparently they were trying to appear gender non-conforming, looking a bit like they might be a side character from Rocky Horror Picture Show or some such. So trying to appear, that's a bit derisive, that's a bit not respectful, and I think Gudmund wouldn't react like aggressively anti-queer, but might be a bit, because just being old often comes with being conservative, although Gudmund doesn't have to be too much, but that's kind of, I feel, what might feel okay. But the problem with subtle conservative positions is the more subtle they are, the bigger the risk that our readers will think the story is just validating them or just channeling the point of view of the author and accepting of it. So we need that arc that Pazut mentioned, because otherwise it will feel like our story endorses this perspective. We probably would have needed it anyway, so I'm not sure where I was going with this. I was just, maybe I'm I sometimes talk about not just the specific situation, but the broader art of writing, because I know you are all here to learn from my infinite wisdom. That sounds good, doesn't it? I like that. I like that. Let's go with that. Rocky Horror Picture Show, some I think that's enough. But that's okay, I think. Oh yeah, almost forgot. They were sitting on the rock, legs crossed. One foot touching the ground with its tip. Does that make sense? Does that conjure an image for you? Hands primly folded, very, very, very mindful, very demure. Sorry, I have to say that it's law. I can't do anything about internet law, can I? Hands primly folded on the upper knee. Nobody says that. No, nobody ever says that. But what else do you say? I mean, if you cross your legs, then there is the upper knee, isn't it? And you can hardly place your hands on the lower knee, can you? Of course, you physically could, but I think that would be uncomfortable for most people. On the upper knee, smiling openly at Gudmund. In fact, the smile was so wide and open that it might have come across threatening if it hadn't been so open. I'm not sure this is a description that resonates with everyone, but it works for me for now. And you know our motto, we'll fix it in post. Now, second person. This is going to be interesting. The second person didn't appear, if that was the right word, to return to the insecurity of the perception, if that was the right, or maybe term. I'm gonna write a quick note because I think I'm gonna say something like Gudmund. I'm gonna make it short because this is not part of the official story, so I don't need to mince words. Gudmund is an expert, so he might be able to find more and or better references. But I'm not an expert, so I might have to research. But I think it would help establish Gudmund's character if he was able to think of some more obscure reference, maybe some sort of novel, old novel. There were, of course, always novels about queer and gender non-conforming people, and maybe even a movie or a series or something like that. I don't know, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't. The second person didn't appear, that was the right term, on one of the seats, but rather standing besides the table. Now, one other thing, I still haven't made up my mind about that, but I think I'm gonna go with not assuming gender when there's no compelling reason. So I'm not going, because that's always an issue. I think I talk about that maybe a bit too often, but that's my thing. I think the vast majority of old, especially cis guys living in care facilities would probably just assume that Munira goes with she, her pronouns. I'm aware of that. I don't dispute that. I still think there's no need to portray it as such, so I'm going to go with not doing it. But I'm absolutely not sure that's the way to go, so let me know. While the first person with the blue coat seemed youngish, especially from Gudmund's perspective. Oh, it's so bad to age because everyone starts to look like children. And I'm just 40. How is that gonna? Let's not think about it. Well, the first person with the blue coat seemed youngish, but definitely. Pazut says, I feel like if you want to hang a lantern on it, he might have understood that at least from one of the caretakers who work there, which also softens his subtle conservatism from before and makes the later arc more believable. I love that. And I also love that metaphor, hang a lantern on it. Is that an official thing that is said in the English language, or is that a pursuitism? I like it. Do you mind if I steal it? Well, the first person with the blue coat seemed youngish, but definitely Luke. Yeah, no, not Luke. Like they could buy a bottle of wine. Yes, it's a thing, not a pursuitism. Well, then I can't steal it, but I can still use it to show ID. This one. 10 or 11. Let's have him underestimate how old Munira is. The thing is, you might have noticed I'm really bad at guessing people's ages, even children's, where it's more doable, I guess. So most people in my stories are also bad at it, and I might be misportraying people's general ability to see or estimate the age of children that are placed in front of them. So that's the thing. They had, yeah, and I also might hang that lantern. Let me see where. They had, let's go with long, curly, or shoulder long. I somehow feel that's how I imagine Munira. I often don't imagine a lot of things about my characters, and when I do, it's not especially helpful as an indication of whether it's good to portray them like that, but that was my fault. So, curly, thick, what's a good word? Thick hair, voluminous. Curly is enough, isn't it? Curly black hair. And we're wearing much less conspicuous clothes. I don't see Munira in a skirt. Do children, girls in that age group wear skirts? I haven't been in school forever. Is it unusual to have her not wear a skirt? Would it be unusual to have her wear a skirt? I'm clueless, sorry. But I think I don't see Munira wearing one. I see Munira wearing something baggy. Maybe I'm just not gonna mention trousers, pants. Well, that's a trap in English. I hate that because I think I realize there's not just American and British English, but those are, for several bad reasons, the main things. And in one of them, pants is only the underwear, and in the other, it's just what you call the trousers. And trousers is, I think, kind of a bit of an obsolete word in at least one of those, and I can't get it straight in my head. So I'm sorry if I'm just not going to mention it. Just not going to mention it. Who cares? Clothes. Mostly covered in a baggy sweatshirt with, I'm just going to go, some sort of band logo. Gudmund is not hip to modern music. We don't even know. We should talk about what kind of music Munira likes. I think that might be important later on. Although it is tricky, so maybe just, I'm gonna say it because I see a lot of warnings about that recently on threads, and it might be useful to someone or save you a lot of pain later on if there actually should ever be someone besides the 3 people interacting regularly watching my videos. We need to be very careful about incorporating contemporary music in our stories, or even not so contemporary music, because the copyright issues are a terror. So even quoting a bit of a song might be a problem. So let's be careful about that. But still, the sweatshirt, which she apparently is wearing, the sweatshirt is some sort of band logo. That's okay for today, I think. Baggy, and it's black. I think that's okay. That's enough. We don't need a lot. And then we have the thing, maybe what I was thinking, and I'm gonna make a poll. Because why not? Because I can. I'm gonna make a poll. Hashtag poll again. How about Wood Gobbler is there, but invisible. So she can witness, but remains unwitnessed herself, except by Sam, of course. The trouble with that would be, obviously, be that we need to establish it in some way, and we can't do that from Gudmund's perspective. So we would have to do it either later on or from Sam's perspective, which is not possible because we have never written from Sam's perspective, and we won't. I don't think we will. We might, but we haven't, and I wouldn't do it just for this. I see 2 thumbs up, which is already a majority, so we're done. Thanks for that. Pazut says, my greatest success as a writer, putting song lyrics at the start of the story that were, for that and other reasons, made up, and having a test reader being lovingly annoyed with me for wasting time on Google trying to find the song band that didn't exist. I love that. And now, of course, I have started wondering, do I have fictional song lyrics somewhere? I have a vague feeling that I do. I can't think of the particular occasion. I do know, obviously, that in the German live stream story, we have a whole fictional band, and maybe even 2 in a way, because one is a real band in the fictional story, and the other band is even fictional within the fictional story, in the sense of that it's a lie, it's made up by one of the characters. Yeah. So that done, that counts already. Finish. Some sort of band look. So we are in complete agreement that Ruth Gabler will not appear to Gudmund, at least. And maybe I'm gonna hang that lantern for today, and then I'm gonna hang my coat and be gone, because for today this will be all. But I'm gonna do it like this. What exactly did you say? You said from one of the care workers. Maybe, or maybe, I think I prefer, because this is a story about systemic violence and oppression. And we don't, I think I would prefer to not have the care workers mentioned in a liberating function, at least not here, not yet. I want to think about that more. So I'm gonna do something like that, which fits the note I wrote earlier. Gudmund, remember, we had Gudmund think about a specific story even, and I forgot which it was. It was perfect. Battle of the Linguist Mages is already one, I think, and then there's, and I forgot the title. God damn it! Something with song. No, not here. Sam laughed. Here we go. The Song of Salvation. There's a lot of queer representation in there. So we don't need, yeah, something older might be nice. Couldn't realize that it was kind of weird for him to think of Rocky Horror Picture Show first when he had just been reading A Song of Salvation, which had plenty of queer representation and included trans and non-binary characters, but that's old age, he thought, It's not perfect, it's not great, it's not wonderful, but that's what I'm going with for now. And what I'm also going with for now is greetings and best wishes for your weekend, because this live stream is done. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure working with you. And I'm saying that not because it feels like work, but because it feels kind of weird to say it has been a pleasure playing with you. Let's not go there. Thanks a lot. I enjoyed this. And I hope you'll be back for my next live stream, whether it will be German or English. Maybe I'll try one in French, talk about a horror show. Who knows? Thanks a lot. Enjoy your day. Don't forget to push all the buttons. Don't forget to tell everyone about my little stream. My life goal is still getting 12 followers, because I remember that something happens. I think I can do live streams from my phone once I reach 12 followers on YouTube or something. I'm not sure, but there was something like that. Maybe it was not 12, but 17, but it wasn't a lot. It felt like a goal that I can actually reach. 2 digits. We can do this. So tell everyone, enjoy your time, enjoy your weekend, have a good time, and bye-bye.